All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this panel discussion on closing the digital divide in financial inclusion through Fintech. Our moderator for this session is Mr. Sandeep Lakshman, Head of Fintech for Asia Pacific and Japan, AWS. And our panelists are Ketan Doshi, MD and CEO of PayPoint India, Ketan Patel, CEO of Mswipe, and Mr. Parag Mehta, founder and CEO of Evolute Group. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Hi, folks. Thank you for joining us. This is a little different for us, isn't it, guys?
It is.
So I think what we're going to do first is have everyone introduce themselves, and then we'll start with the question and answers. Meanwhile, Ketan Doshi is still figuring his headset out, so we're going to allow that. But Ketan Patel, why don't you make a quick introduction of yourself, your company, and tell the audience about it.
So, thanks. Career banker, was in Kotak for 18 years before I took this plunge. And now I run Mswipe. Mswipe is the largest non-bank POS acquirer in the country. We have around 500,000 POS terminals in the country. Around million QR merchants who use our QR. We are a lender too. We just got a PA aggregator license. So that's what we do.
Congratulations on getting the PA license.
Thank you.
We're going to go to Ketan Doshi. We have two Ketans on the panel, so we're going to go to the second Ketan. Ketan Doshi, why don't you introduce yourself and the company?
So, PayPoint is focused towards underserved market. We have retail touchpoints offering BC. We have banking correspondent piece where regular banking happens. PMJDY accounts are open. So we cater to more than 40 lakh accounts which day in day out transact through us. We do have a wallet license which again is created to offer services to the underserved. Primarily we see underserved market where wallets are not there, and we offer other payment services. We have more than 100 plus aggregated services on our platform where this B town, C town and above people come and access this on a day in day basis. So we cater to around crore of customers on a month on month basis.
Wow, awesome. And the last panelist is Parag. Parag, why don't you introduce yourself and Evolute?
Well, yeah, I'm Parag. I'm born and brought up in Mumbai, third generation entrepreneur. Started Evolute Systems and now Evolute Fintech Innovation in 2009. In the journey for embedded engineering, started developing some front-end solutions for financial inclusion space in the country. We have more than about 250,000 BC or micro ATMs in play, and we have continued our journey, and further we have developed India's first POS terminal, which is in-house, indigenously designed and manufactured in India with all the payment certification in place. And further we are adding a lot of other values, including some of the applications and softwares. So yeah, we are definitely having a big vision of empowering the people with technology. So that's what our tagline is: tech power the world. Yeah, so over to you.
Thank you. And a quick introduction about myself. My name is Sandeep Lakshman. As the MC said, I head the fintech vertical for AWS across Asia Pacific and Japan. And for those who are new, AWS provides technology services, from machine learning to databases to compute to CloudFront, etc. for fintechs, right? So they could just click and use that. But talking about tech, Parag, I'm going to catch you first,
Okay.
right? First of all, congratulations, right? So your products are all made in India.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome. And you have like 250,000 devices on the ground, right, on the field.
Right.
That's a pretty big number. So talk to us about some of the macroeconomic trends that you see, right, in the country that enables financial inclusion, right? And through essentially your POS machines.
So I will say that the country has evolved from ATMs to micro ATMs, right? So there was a need of making an affordable solutions, and that's exactly taking those solutions to the customer. So branchless banking and agency banking and business correspondent model has evolved, and they very much wanted a solution which are affordable in nature. And with the mobile phone and the smartphone evolving, ultimately we have been able to build those front-end solutions, and that is where if the entire 10 years or 15 years you look at it from the business correspondent model, which got toggled in 2004, 2005, the country has come a long way. Like now, after Jandan scheme also has announced more than 43 crore Jandan accounts are open, 1,90,000 crores are in deposit, and even the Aadhaar play, which has came in, so Jandan, Aadhaar, and mobile, has actually helped the country evolve into a long play by making the financial inclusion right. In 2010 or 11, I was hearing about 50% or so. And now country has more than 76% financial inclusion achieved. Of course, out of the huge, big population of 135 crores, and out of that, maybe 110 or 120 odd adult population. So with that, a lot of other smart solutions are evolving and emerging, and we would be definitely looking at to make our 2 cents and contribution for that particular journey ahead. So ultimately it's technology.
Yes, agree. By the way, I always like to take audience questions. So if your audience has any questions, could you please have a mic that we could ask for, if audience have questions, we could take that later, please. All right. So I want to, that's very interesting, but I want to come to Ketan Doshi for a bit, right? Ketan, you mentioned about how you got a wallet license. You have so many touch points, right? But talk to us about some of the challenges, right? Because one of the big things about India is the population, right? It's a massive population. It's a big opportunity, but it also produces its own challenges, right? What are the challenges that you see in the market today, right? That's to drive financial inclusion, and that for the entrepreneurs today, that could become opportunities in the future.
So the biggest challenge is access to financial services. Now, why there is no limited access to financial services? Because of population, as you rightly mentioned, because India has a huge demography with multiple languages, maybe around 17,500 languages are spoken in India. So there needs to be an assistance. The second area is there needs to be financial literacy. So to bring financial literacy, there needs to be an assistance. And you cannot assume a customer will go online and understand an insurance policy and come on board. So there needs to be an handholding. So one is the demography, multiple languages. There are hilly zones where psyches are different. There are other zones where other psyches there. And to bring financial literacy and give access to these masses is a very big fight. Again, in the rural or a remote location, the ticket sizes are low. So service providers are unable to reach out to this location. So on a low ARPU, a service delivery has to happen where the cost is high. That is the challenge for a service provider to reach out to the last mile. So if we bridge this gap, if we build a system, and Fintech can very well do it, like large banks have their own way of working, or large institutions, if a nimble Fintech can reach out to this last mile with an efficient system which can address to this need, I think market is huge. We have seen only first leg of the financial inclusion in terms of PMJDY or payments, in terms of UPI, etc., wallet. But the next phase is very big, where insurance, lending, your investments, this is coming up. The masses are waiting for it, but you need access to this demography, vast demography.
So what I understand is also, essentially reducing the cost enough for you so that you could actually scale that up, right?
Yes.
And here's where I want to bring in Ketan Patel from Mswipe, right? So Ketan, you started in payments. So Mswipe was a pure play payments player. What are the opportunities you have seen? Because Ketan Doshi spoke about some of the challenges. What are the opportunities you have seen, and how has that driven your business model over the last few years?
So, we changed our business model a bit post the pandemic, right? Pandemic, we were a one-trick pony focusing only on payment acceptance. And we realized that payment acceptance on its own is good to acquire, but you need to do multiple things with the terminal, right? If you go to a small merchant in a tier 4 and ask him about the terminal, he'll tell you this device takes away 2% of my profit, right? The MDR is a hit to him. we wanted to change the narrative, right? So what we said is, how do you add things to the terminal which adds value to the merchant, right? So lending was a no-brainer. It's the holy grail for everyone. So was for us too, right? Micro ATM. We said, okay, fine. Let's convert this. A lot of cooperative banks did not want to invest in micro ATMs. Can you also use your POS terminal as a micro ATM where the merchant can dispense cash and make some money out of it, right? BNPL flavor not currently important in tier 3, 4, 5, 6, but tier 1 and 2 BNPL is getting important, where you are able to convert it into your product into a EMI and not lose a sale. Insurance at pause, like Ketan Doshi said, that we feel is a game changer. Small ticket insurance policies which a terminal will be able to dispense and the merchant will be able to make revenue is going to be the game changer, right? And I personally feel the government is investing a lot to ensure that tier 3 to 6, J&K, Northeast, digitization happens on a fast pace, right? The PIDF scheme has around 800 crores to be disbursed. I think they've disbursed some 250, 300 crores, where aggregators like us are incentivized to digitize merchants in tier 3 to 6, Northeast and J&K. We are doing that. Last year, if you look at PIDF data, some 400,000 devices and a crore QR codes were installed in tier 3 to 6, J&K and Northeast. My gut is this year it will double, right? So government is doing enough. We are incentivized to go and put devices out there and make them transact. I think it's working well. Can we do more? Of course we can do more.
That's a very important, interesting point you brought up, because I just came from Ladakh. I went to climb this crazy mountain and came back. What I was amazed, because 10 years ago, if you went to Ladakh, you just had to carry cash, right? There was I think a couple of ATMs and they would always be out of money and no one accepted cards. And this time I went and I was so surprised because it's quite remote, and even the remotest places, they accepted UPI. I mean, they had QR codes. They accepted cards, which I was so surprised. And when we were speaking about this, you were mentioning about PIDF, that is the Payment Infrastructure Development Fund, right? I think some stuff like that is a big opportunity.
It is
not just for existing customers, but also like existing players like you, but also for new founders in the audience here who want to, build on that, which is subsidized by the government as well, right? And you can see the effects. I almost I remember all the gifts that I bought for the folks home, I just paid through UPI, right?
Yeah, I agree. I don't carry a wallet anymore here, wherever I go.
But there is one thing I want to comment. Parag, I'm going to bring you in here because, you focus, on the last mile, right? Because one is, government incentivizing, right? It's incentivized you to you deploy these devices and drive transactions. And Ketan, you mentioned 800 crores, right? That's a pretty big amount. But at the same time, the customer, right? One thing we need to not forget is that the end customer, we have to earn their trust as well, right? So that they actually do the transaction, right? What are you seeing at the end customer? What matters? For the founders here, for what matters in terms of enabling them to do the transactions?
So when it comes to trust, Sandeep, is multiple factors come in play. So right from availability of the technology or the assisted model, which even Ketan Doshi has told us. So ultimately, enabling them to make more and more transactions is what the entire environment is can be created in a way. So now more products can be offered slowly once they have the literacy and once they understand. And important point is that trust is connected with the fraud and some of the other matters which need to be instilled. If I'm going to do this transaction, how people have recently tasted that success in cases of UPI, where Google Pay or any of the other UPI Pay, where people are not thinking twice now. Okay, I'm making a transaction, it is going quick and done. So trust is anyway seen. Same way there are other channels. Now UPI may not work as smartphones are not available in those remote locations. So where I feel that Aadhaar-led infrastructure to be leveraged further and that is where we can add further on the trust factor, which has been still missing, and especially when I see some marginalized community, when we talk about women and girls, or when we talk about disabled people, or even the elderly people, there are more chances of, there are more cons also in the industry who can, really outsmart them. And if based out of that couple of other channels we have in the country, and if we can leverage that it good enough, the trust can be enhanced. Now, I was also thinking how buy now, pay later is become very popular for lending, and it's become a talk of the town worldwide. So why can't it be transact now and settle later? There are technology possible, or it can even get evolved. But do we even think about, and especially I'm talking about for the tier 3 to tier 6 or even remotest villages across the country. Now if that can happen, so small ticket transaction, we don't really wait for only smartphones to come in, though smartphones also increasing, but somewhere in the way we can create that technology which is still available within the card networks or even other networks, and those offline transactions can be settled later. How we are getting the instant loans? Okay, because based out my behavior of transaction, my history is there, and I've been given the lending, so that okay, Parag, you are there as an entity, and we can give you 5 lakh rupees of a loan just very quickly. Same way, small ticket, 200, 500, 1000 rupees transaction, can it be trusted? And some infrastructure can be supported by the government, so that the trust is up, transaction karo, we'll not wait for the settlement, and eventually that will happen. So that is where I think that could be a novel thought here, which I'm trying to add.
That's very interesting, because I'll tell you what you're essentially saying is, in order to build trust with the end customer, number one, your process has to be almost transparent, right? You want to give instant loans, but at the same time, it needs to be secure, right? So your product is almost invisible. Like you mentioned, you use, Ketan, you use your POS not just to process transactions, but also give a line of credit, sell insurance, right? So your POS essentially becomes invisible, right, to the end customer. What he cares about is what he can get, right? This just struck me like one of the key things. So out of the audience here, so a quick question. How many of you have seen that Paytm box which makes that noise, 30 rupees aa gaye? How many of you have seen it? Raise your hands. Okay, almost everyone. Okay, a couple of folks ahead have not seen it, so I would request you to do UPI transactions, please. But jokes apart, so we actually worked with Paytm on that, right? Because one of the things that came up with merchants is that the merchants wanted that, it's not just the end customer, right? The merchant wanted that security that, hey, the transaction has actually happened. And so we had to work with Paytm to put in this machine that would allow them to confirm a transaction in real time at a very cheap cost, right? So we worked with them on a particular architecture, and that architecture, but if anyone else is interested, happy to discuss it in one-on-one. But yeah, we worked with them to build that, and that actually has increased their trust for both the customers as well as, the merchants, right? I think that was for me, that's what struck as a good example. Sorry, you were saying.
From many years since the POS has evolved as a enabler or an instrument to carry out all those transactions, for us it was always in a receipt, which has been at a core of instilling that trust, and that still continues. But we can go even beyond that now. So that soundbox or voice bar scenarios are been catching up, and there are multiple ways which could be affordable, cheaper, and more appealing to some community, where all of that has been made possible. Like how multilingual receipt can be printed, same way even multiple languages also, so soundbox can even narrate whatever the transactions have been made. So yeah, I'm quite in for this kind of the solutions.
That is happening, right? The soundbox today, most of the people have at least 8 languages, right? So you're also solving the tier 3 to 6 problem where English may not be a preferred language, or south of India where Hindi is not a preferred language, right? That is getting sorted. And you're bang on, the soundbox is going to be the future. Just to give you some stats, I was just thinking about it. In the month of August, 6.5 billion transactions happened through UPI. Our population is 1.3, give or take some 10 here or there, right? That means every Indian did 5 transactions a month. So every Indian is transacting on UPI once a week. Now, if you take the data of 48% being feature phones, right? That means every Indian transacted once on UPI in 3 days. That is the power of UPI. And that's what is changing the game.
Correct. And there is I think feature phone is again another opportunity, right? So one of my friends recently, he wanted to go on a digital detox. So he got rid of his smartphone and took a feature phone. And the biggest trouble today he was asking hey Sandeep, how can I do payments through a feature phone? Right? So he's I think that's another opportunity there. Sorry, Ketan, Doshi.
Think UPI is out with 123 at the rate something. Yeah, that's the thing coming up for the offline for the feature phones.
That they're using USSD channel, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, Ketan, Doshi, coming to you, right? So, you talked about the challenges, right? Talk to us about how you are addressing those challenges, right? Because you identified them, right? So, I want to go a little bit deeper on what you are doing on that space to address them.
So, when we started with payments. That also brings trust along with us. Payments always is the starting point. Then we moved on to the banking piece. We cater to the banking needs of the population. So offering PMJDY accounts. So we have offering banking at our touch points. We have wallet now, which is coming out in a different shape and manner based on our past experience. So we're creating a challenger bank, not a bank itself, but a challenger bank product where wallets will be offered to the underserved. The onboarding will be quick, and even the debit cards are sort of a prepaid card, which is a pseudo debit card for them, which can be offered over the counter. So there's no lead time for onboarding. If you go to open a bank account, there's a lead time to open a bank account. There's a lead time to get a card, lead time to activate a card. There's a process for an underserved to go to an ATM card, activate a card, and it's a very big process, and which there's a dropout, very big dropout. So this is what we have observed over a period of time, that onboarding a customer quickly and educating them there itself when he's excited to get onboarded, rather than waiting for them to get the card and onboard them and train them and educate them. So that piece which we are building it on the wallet, and wallet right now, as per the new regulations which have gone through in last 1 year, wallet is at par with a bank account, except I cannot pay interest on the wallet balance, and it can hold up to 2 lakh rupees. So I think for the underserved market, we have a decent size of 2 lakh rupees, and we are building it for the people who are aspiring to get a wallet or card. We are using the Aadhaar pipe to get the KYC onboarded. KYC based onboarding quickly. I don't think anyone is interested in the interest part. People are not actually looking at interest. They are just using it as a payment tool, as an investment tool, or as they want to go online. A rural location, there are youths who are looking to go online and buy a Nike shoe or a Reebok or a jeans, and they don't have the tool to make a payment. So this is the segment we are hitting, and hopefully I think we are going to see good traction, because we have seen 20% KYC rejection rate because of small difference in KYC. The banks are so adamant, they cannot move out of their piece. So we are seeing that 20% dropout rate because the bank has not approved the account for various reasons. So 30-40% rejection rate. So there is a huge mass which is waiting to get banked, and they have a good alternate in terms of our card. And these are cash loading cards, because we have 65,000 touch points where a customer can walk in, and he can be a farmer from a local, he can be a farmer who is getting cash as his revenue, and he can come to my outlet and deposit it. So it is pure offline play to a digital play, and most of the cards right now, or the wallet right now, is focused towards online. They are addressing needs of already included people. So that's where we are.
Hello. I think now prepaid card you can also withdraw, right?
Yes.
That is also allowed. So you are it's as good as a bank account. Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Interesting. So that means because of the wallet, you could move money between wallets. Number one, it's
Yes.
that's,
P2P is there.
That's P2P.
P2M
That's
is there because of QR codes.
QR
We are
codes.
live on the UPI. We are getting live on the UPI pipe under interoperability.
And then you can also withdraw money through your prepaid cards, right? And anyway, you have a micro ATM network thanks to all of this, right?
Yes.
Interesting. That's a very interesting take on a product to address the underserved market, right? Like farmers, for example, tier 3 to tier 4 to tier 6. Okay, so folks, we have I see 11 minutes 40 seconds more. Any questions? Raise your hands. We will try to get you a mic for you to ask a question. And meanwhile, I'm going to continue. So any questions? Just raise your hand. We'll ask the audience. If not, we will continue our questions here, right? All right. So there's an interesting trend I'm seeing over here, right? So number one, all three of you are in payments as such. But both of you have launched other products on top of payments, right? So you've launched a wallet banking product, you launched lending and insurance. Parag, you're still on, you're pure payments now. Here's what I want to know, right? And this is for the audience here, the entrepreneurs here as well. How do you see payments evolving? Is payments going to become a commodity? Or is it you can still make money on it? Or is it going to be something that you use as a base? And I want all three of you to answer. And Ketan,
I would
she's
like
waiting to go.
take the lead.
So, yes, Ketan.
Payments is already more than commodity now. So there's no revenue stream in the payments business, but ancillary business as they are into lending or some ancillary business if you get insurance on the bucket. So basically bundling multiple products on the payments pipe gives you revenue, it brings efficiency because if you have multiple products running on the same asset, it brings huge efficiency. So it is divided. So we have, just to correct, we have 100 plus services running on our touch points, which ranges from travel to booking to lending to payment. So that's the only piece which gives me efficiency, or else it would have been difficult to sustain only on the payments.
So I agree with Parag, and Ketan. So the thing is, payments is a great acquisition tool. You can acquire a merchant using payments. Try and cover the ecosystem to the best of your ability, right? There are multiple ways to, make revenue out of the merchant, right? And lending, insurance, BNPL are some of the few, right? Payments also helps you. See, if you look at merchant lending per se, I don't know of any company which has been profitable in the merchant lending space. Right? There is no company which is profitable. If you look at the last report which CRIF came out with, they are saying small ticket business loans, the NPA is above 15%. So I'm sure nobody's making money. But with payments, I think you can have a great control on lending because from the settlements you can deduct money. You can understand the merchant more. So payments on its own will never make money, but value-added services, and I include lending in that, will help you make money.
Parag.
I was just thinking what I'm going to add. Like how you said about Ladakh now. Even 5 years before even I had been to Ladakh, and that time I took an immersion in Pangong Lake. So तभी immersion करने के बाद ऐसा था कि मोदी जी ने आत्मनिर्भर करने का पूरा he said it. So we thought okay, let's develop and manufacture and design the POS machine in India, and we'll really be able to make good money because there is no one in the industry. Even after 5 years, there is no one in the industry. So how we talked about giving an access in the financial inclusion, but very important piece has been left out is how are we going to reduce our dependency. Entire ecosystem of payment, it is based out of the foreign vendors infrastructure. Now unfortunately that's still being on the challenge side, which I am still narrating because we all are aware the semiconductor challenges and so on and so forth, the scenarios which India is still struggling. Maybe we'll take another 4-5 years to improvise that scenario. But having said that, now how are we going to move ahead yesterday I had a meeting with some of my sales folks here, and we were talking about how we can continue our journey of building solutions. So then our folks were interested more in finding कि ये हार्डवेयर है उसके ऊपर सॉल्यूशन क्या लगा सकते हैं. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
But then we decided that let's do that way, that let's find a solution and some of the hardware can be fixed in those solutions here. So right from onboarding solutions to management or mobile device management. Am I audible? So mobile device management, and how are we going to monitor, how are we going to optimize those apps, and ultimately whatever the services these gentlemen have been offering, our contribution to their journey is with more and more ubiquitous scenarios with the hardware, with the different solutions, with some of the software applications, and ultimately how faster they'll be able to serve the entire community which they are aiming to. And maybe we can be of that help in the value chain. So ultimately it's just not pure play payment, but with the value addition, how Ketan said, and we would be definitely wanting to play in that sort of a complete offering together as a bundled way. So that is where not only just the hardware, but couple of other innovations which we can definitely wanting to bring in, which will make the journey worthwhile.
Yeah. I think you brought out a very important point on the semiconductor shortage. I think can we get Parag a new headset, please? I think he can't hear me. Any questions from the audience? Raise your hands. Don't be shy. Okay, we have a question there. Can we get the gentleman a mic, please, so that he can ask his question in the meanwhile? And please do let us know to whom the question is for as well. We can't hear. Can you just see that? Okay, till then I'm just going to ask, continue the discussion until the mic is ready.
Sorry, because there is talking some other conference, not here.
Okay, so I think Parag is hearing somebody else's voice and not mine. But no, I kind of agree with what Parag said, right? There is the semiconductor shortage is an issue.
Check. Hey.
Yeah. Okay, whoever said check, I could hear it. Yeah, Parag, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, awesome. Right. Yeah, can you please just introduce yourself and also just your name and also your question and to whom it is for?
Yeah, my name is Satish. I'm also from AWS. I'm a colleague of Sandeep. This question is for actually all of you. I mean, some of you mentioned that lending is not a not a money-making enterprise, right? But we are hearing a lot about the data stack coming up on top of UPI and identity as well. And with more data becoming available, you'll be able to do more cash flow based lending and be able to underwrite better. If you were to crystal gaze, right, where do you think when would lending become profitable, and when would it be that it'll become the real financial inclusion?
No, but you can use my mic.
So I said there is no profitable lending company as of now. Mm-hmm. I didn't say lending is not profitable, right? So lending is definitely profitable. The problem is, people don't use the data well. Like, just to give you an example, POS gives you so much data. Like, let's say Sandeep was a merchant with me for the last 2 years. I know how many days was he transacting with me, right? How many transactions happen on a daily basis? How many unique cards? How many UPI? How many debit? How many credit? How many Amex? How many Visa, right? Am I analyzing that data well? Post giving the loan. Let's say Sandeep used to transact every day for the last 2 years and he didn't transact for 2 days. Do I call him up and ask, is everything okay with him, his family, the shop, and my device, right? If he still doesn't transact, do I send somebody to the shop to say a quick hi, right? Will there be delinquencies? Of course there will be delinquencies, but would you want to be first in the queue to get your money? That should be the plan, right? So, a lot of people focus only on data to lend. right? Nobody's focusing on data to collect. Ultimately, if you want to win a great football match, you can't do it without a great goalkeeper, right? So nobody's focusing on the goalkeeper. Everybody's focusing on the forward. So whoever gets the goalkeeper right will be able to crack this code. That I can assure you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very important point you brought up, actually, Ketan, because so number one, for those who want us to help them analyze their data, please let us know. We got teams of analytics and AI experts and ML experts who can sit with you. Interestingly, on goalkeeper, right, it just struck me on how important it is I think it was, I forgot which World Cup it was, but it was USA was there in that it was a soccer World Cup, the football World Cup, and the goalkeeper was like saving a bunch of goals, and somebody went to the goalkeeper's Wikipedia page and changed his position from goalkeeper to Ministry of Defense. You know, that's like, so I kind of understand how important goalkeeping is. So we've actually worked with some fintechs. So Zest Money is one fintech where we've actually worked on digitizing the collections, right? Reminding exactly what you said. Yeah, we're happy to work with any of you on enabling that. Any other questions from the audience? We have like 1 minute, 20 seconds left. Okay. Ketan, you wanted to say something else?
No.
Okay.
I was just trying to see if the mic is working now.
Yeah, it is. It's they've been a little cranky. All right. Any last words, Ketan, Doshi, Parag?
I think as the conference goes about financial inclusion through fintech, I think fintech partnership is going to be key driver to the financial inclusion piece, because financial institutions are large and they cannot be nimble and go down the line with a efficient system. So I think fintech is going to be key driver for financial inclusion. It will work in a partnership model with the large institutions, and without fintech, the financial inclusion dream of the country cannot be successful. That's what I can give you last.
Yeah, so
Parag?
to add on to that, whatever Ketan said is like, according to me, it's more of the merchant inclusion and the whole digitalization journey, ultimately how we are achieving the entire digital transformation. So with all of those enabling scenarios from the government side, from the regulator, or even the marketplaces, eventually we'll see that, how that optimization is able to reach to the last mile, and eventually the economy will thrive based out of all the enablers here. So we'll have to continue this journey. And one more thought process here is like, when he asked the question on lending and whether we'll be able to earn money or not, I sometimes wonder, because being a third generation entrepreneur, which I said, are they really wanting to have a profit? Because the models which are evolving, like, they should change their status from for-profit to non-profit organization.
So this is a question that we asked when we were setting up a lending business. I come from the Kotak stable. So we asked ourselves, do you want to be a Unilever or a Kotak, right? So do you want to be in the distribution game, or do you want your money back? So this is the answer here. Whoever wants to be in the distribution game will never make money. Whoever wants to be a Kotak will get their money back.
So I feel it is the first phase, and people are just acquiring right, left and center, and without caring about whether money is going to come back or not. And that's why we are seeing this bleed. Once this phase is over, I think there will be sanity, and Kotaks will be there, and Unilever will be Unilever. Yeah. So there will be a separate, there will be a distribution arm like the PayPoint, and there will be a lender, which will be a SBI or Kotak or whatever.
Ketan bhai, you're coming for the IPO?
Why not?
Yeah, I think it's the market is big enough to accommodate different players, right? So I think you're going to have different business models. Some will figure it out, and they will succeed. That's all the time we have. It's actually, this is the big Times Up red over here, very scary looking notice board right in front of us. But I would like to thank all of you. The last thing I would always say is that, for all of you looking to start new fintechs or thinking of innovative models, think of what technology. So if you look at anything that is innovative or disruptive or drives, mass adoption, which is what you need for financial inclusion, think about some disruptive technology that you can leverage, right? So from our business, like cloud is a very good example. Andreessen, Mark Andreessen, who's the founder of Andreessen Horowitz, one of the biggest VC firms in the world, actually said that the cloud reduced the cost of starting startups by 100 times. Right? So what used to cost $150,000 to start, or $1.5 million to start rather, became like $15,000. So that's a big, big difference. So think about different technologies that you can leverage with innovative business models. Right? All right. Thank you so much, Ketan.
Thanks.
Ketan and Parag. It was a wonderful discussion.
Thank you so
Guys,
much.
can we have a round of applause please, for them, please? Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Bye.